Hey Cancer, what's going on? I hope you are super well. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Madam Butterfly, and you know, whether you're new or whether you've been with me for a really long time, I really appreciate you checking out the reading, and you are so welcome here. We're going to do a general reading, Cancer, so I'm going to pull a bunch of different cards and just see what comes through. And I just want to say, like, also, yeah, if you feel like the reading resonates with you once you've seen it and you feel like liking and subscribing for me, I'd appreciate that so much too. Might be a bit of a longer reading, this one. I'm just going to keep going. But if it's too long, you can pause it and come back to it, right? Some people complain the readings are too long, I don't know. But you can pause it and come back to it, right? You don't have to watch it all at once. So, I'm just going to reshuffle these. Okay, so Spirit, what would you like Cancer to know, please? You have the Dove. Spread messages of peace and harmony. So I feel like this is kind of what you're coming into at the moment, Cancer. You're coming into a period of peace, but also I did this for you in a reading recently, and yeah, the word was like transmuting, but I feel, you've been through a lot in your life. You've maybe been through some experiences that weren't so pleasant, been dealing with some people that weren't so pleasant, because you guys are the teachers of the zodiac, right? And the thing is about being the teachers is you have to learn the lessons first, right? Because you can't really be teaching people things unless you actually know what you're talking about, right? So I feel like because you have such a gentle and like caring and compassionate nature, it's like you're not letting the negative stuff that's gone on in your past kind of make you a negative or toxic person. It's like it's made you all the more determined to be like a beautiful soul and spread messages of love and happiness. And I feel like this is what I was trying to say in your previous reading. It's like you're going to be a peacemaker of some kind. Like you're going to, for a job or just generally amongst your friends and family and co-workers, you're going to be able to show people how to live peacefully, like how to take negative things that are happening in their life or take things that have been not so great in their past and turn it into like a learning, like not that like, yeah, like something good. You're gonna like teach people how to be like, look, these bad things did happen, but this is what it's taught you, right? So like, don't dwell in the negativity. I feel like this is what you're being led up to, like being a peacemaker of some kind, like spreading light. You're definitely a light worker, definitely. Some of you may also be mediums. It may be time for you to, like if you've been wondering about progressing further with your mediumship, it may well be time for you to really start looking into that seriously, because there's something with the doves about spreading messages of like love and peace and harmony. And I mean, what better way to do that than to like convince people that there is an afterlife? You know what I mean? You have kangaroo, be a force for good. So you're going to be doing something really, really good for humanity. You're going to be a pretty strong force for good. And I feel like, who was it that had that? Was it Aries? I think it was Aries that had that. I feel like you're stepping into some kind of leadership position of some kind. Like maybe in a community. Like you might be a figurehead. Oh my god, no way, Aries had that one too. Maybe some of you have Aries in your chart. Lead as a powerful, peaceful warrior. The shark. See, yeah, there's some kind of leadership position that you're stepping into, but what you're gonna do is like you're gonna be spreading messages of love and peace, but also you're gonna be very powerful. Like that's twice you have peace, so you're definitely gonna be spreading peace. But I feel like you wouldn't have been able to do this before because you weren't strong enough. Basically, like your boundaries weren't good enough. People may have taken advantage of you because there may be something here about literally being a figurehead or stepping into some kind of, yeah, some kind of leadership role. Okay, what else for Cancer, please? Mauve, enjoy clear hearing. All right, some of you are clairaudient, so like you can actually hear spirit, you know, in terms of like a voice in your head, right? But also like in terms of clairaudience, like it's, you know, you get messages through like songs, and you hear it through like overheard conversations from other people, like snippets of important information that you'll get by hearing. And it's also, you're getting a lot of messages in through your crown chakra. I also want to say, some of you are definitely mediums. Like you're able to hear people that have passed over talking. And I don't mean, because I feel like when you say that, people get confused, because I used to get confused and be like, what do you mean, bitch? Like you can actually hear them, but it's like you'll hear them like almost in your mind's eye, or your mind's ear, as it were. You know, you won't actually hear the voice, but you will hear it clear as a bell in your head, right? Okay, that's it from that deck. Let's go into this one. In fact, I want to go into this one first. What else would you like Cancer to know, please? Yeah, the High Priestess. I want to take that one. You know what? We're gonna shuffle them. We're gonna reshuffle them all. Okay. Just gonna reshuffle them all. See what comes out. What else for Cancer, please? And also, if you are watching this reading on the day that it comes out, remember it is a full moon today. So it comes out on the Friday. Remember it is a full moon today. You know, be nice to yourself if you're not achieving everything that you want. Be nice to yourself, right? You can't be like a machine all the time, right? Let yourself rest. You have the Three of Pentacles here. Reach out. I want to say exalted. Like you're going to be some kind of figurehead, like you're going to be put up on a pedestal in some way. And I see her listening. You're going to be able to hear spirit, or like you're hearing messages. I feel like this is what your job is, Cancer. I also feel like you're going to be working with other people. I feel like you're going to make money. You may be starting some kind of spiritual business. Like a medium business, or maybe like something to do, some kind of spiritual business, or something where you're spreading messages of peace and harmony. So that could even be like a blog, or it could be like, I don't know, it's something to do with communication. But it's very pure. Your intentions are very pure, and I feel like you're going to bring people together. So it could be like, you know, maybe you're going to be like going to like a local spiritualist church or something like that, and working with people there. Or like you're starting a business online, or maybe it's like a Twitter account you're going to start or something like that. But the Three of Pentacles, it can often talk about a business, and it talks about community, like working with other people. It could also be something to do with art, like you're going to spread messages of peace and harmony and love via something creative that you're going to do. But I feel like you hear things, I feel like you hear messages. You have the Two of Cups. Yeah, you're going to bring people together, because it's come out underneath be a force for good. Somehow what you do is going to bring people together. And it's something to do with, like, again, it's something to do with these messages that you're giving people. is bringing people together. Okay, I'm going to switch to a different deck. Let's go for this one. Okay, in fact, I want to go to this one. Okay, what else for Cancer, please? Whoa, that really shot out. Okay, these have come out both together, so I feel like you're really rushing around at the moment. You have the Tower, unplug and relax for a spell, and you have Feast, slow down and celebrate yourself. So that is, and the way they shot out, Cancer, that's such a clear message. So yeah, you're trying to do too much is what I would say. Also, you've achieved a lot, like you've done a lot. So it's time for you to kind of stop and kind of assess where you are. Because I feel like maybe there's a need here, or you just, it's like you just keep going. You know, you just keep making yourself do more and more and more, especially like on a full moon day. Because I'm just a wreck right about the full moon, like for like 3 days before the full moon, 3 days before the new moon. And I know it's because I'm quite sensitive, and you guys are sensitive too. So you can't really hold your, when you're sensitive like that, you can't really hold yourself to the same standards as other people, you know, in terms of, you're like, well, that person can just keep going. Like, yeah, but they're not as sensitive as you, right? You have to kind of adjust. So like, especially on like full moon and new moon days, or there's like ascension days, you know, make sure you're really taking time out and not trying to force yourself to do more than you should be doing. Maybe even like meditation or yoga, or working with crystals or something like this. This kind of looks like an artichoke to me as well, so you might be being asked to include like more fruit and veg in your diet. Or even gardening might be good for you, Cancer, like as something to kind of take your mind off your problems, or like to stop you rushing around so much. Or even like planting, you know, house plants in your house or something. There's definitely something about getting more fruit and veg into your diet. Like you're not eating enough fruit and veg. But they want you to know, like, you've come very far, you've achieved a lot, and it's time now to have a little break and slow down and actually think about what you've done and how far you've come, you know, and to, instead of being hard on yourself and being like, oh, I should be doing this, like, even if it's just small things, you know, like, oh, the house isn't clean, or like I've not done the dishes, or I didn't change the bed, or like, oh, you know, I really need to run out and do this, that, and the other thing. Like, do you actually, or would you be a lot, like, actually would it be a lot better for you if you just took a day off, if you can? I mean, obviously if you have children and stuff, you know, there's only so much you can take off, but I feel like for some of you it's like you're constantly setting yourself goals, which is great, you know, but don't forget to just, you know, occasionally take time out and think about how far you've come. Like, stop being so hard on yourself, and, you know, realize how far you've come and what you've done, because you've really overcome a lot to get to this teaching, to get to this kind of teacher position. I mean, they're saying you've overcome so many very intense karmic lessons. This is the reason that you're now able to move into this teaching position, and it's not going to be for every Cancer, you know, it's only going to really be for those of you that have, like, you know, ascended to the point where you know, you're looking for information like this, right? Yeah, because not every Cancer is gonna, you know, have like learned all their lessons, and they're not every Cancer is gonna be, you know, stepping into teaching mode here. But because you've done the work, right? You've done more work, and you've done your shadow work. That's the stage that you're now at. Okay. You have the Five of Swords. That's interesting. You have the Five of Swords underneath the shark. Lead as a powerful, peaceful warrior. I'm just looking at what he's holding here. It looks like he's holding like a hose or something, but I'm wondering if it's an etheric cord, because it's actually Archangel Michael is actually the person who cuts the etheric cords. So you don't, by the way, you don't ever need to spend money to ask somebody to cut etheric cords for you. You can do it yourself. If you call in Archangel Michael and ask him to do it for you, you know, he will cut away the etheric cords with his fiery sword. You know, just envision him doing it, envision them falling away. And it doesn't have to be just with like it's not a bad thing. Cutting the etheric cord doesn't mean that you'll cut the cord with the person in the 3D. It just means that like any kind of draining energy that's been attached to you will be severed, so that your energy will be your own, right? So people won't be able to sap your energy as much. And that can be anyone. You know, it could be people that you've worked with, you know, people that you've met online. Because they don't have to physically attach themselves to you, they're attaching themselves to basically like your soul, right? Is the way that I see it. So that might just be like a little by the by for you. But I feel like there's something here to do with cutting etheric cords with people from your past. Because I do feel like you've had some toxic people in your past, but I feel like they were your lessons, because you had to learn boundaries, because you are stepping into some kind of pretty important leadership role here. And in order to do that, you may have to be powerful. You know what I mean? Like you'll have to have boundaries, and you'll have to not let people walk all over you. Like, you know, for example, like if you set up a business, and maybe it's a healing business, like you're gonna have to learn to stop, you know, like to not give people like loads and loads of extra time, like all this kind of stuff, right? So that you can actually have a valid business model, right? Because like if you're really empathetic and you're really kind and sweet, like when you first start off like a spiritual healing business, that can be like a you know, somewhere where it's difficult, right? And you feel awful for doing it, but at the end of the day, you have to live, right? So you have to learn how to do these things. But my mum was actually telling me the other day, like these etheric cords, they can actually get stuck in your sacral chakra. So the more of these cords that you have in you, the less able you will be, like the less you'll be able to express your true self, and the less you'll be able to tap into your intuition. So it's important that these etheric cords are gone. So make sure you're making time to do that. But I feel like you've cut a lot of cords with people from your past in order to have to step into this role. Maybe that's something that you're going to teach other people, you know, like how to be strong and how to say no to people, you know, even if it's people you love, like having to say no, like I'm not doing that, I'm not going to let you treat me this way. And I feel like you're going to uplift people by doing it. You have the King of Cups. Wow. There's definitely, with the King of Cups here, you're going to be doing something creative. They're going to tell, if you don't know what this is yet, they're going to tell you, you're going to hear it, like just like one day you're just going to hear it. Like you're going to, it's something creative, and it's something healing. With the King of Cups, like it could be something to do with like art, it could be literally, it could be healing, like a doctor or a nurse. Like I said, for some of you it could be like mediumship, it could be like, I don't know, maybe you're doing something like Reiki or tarot or something. The ability to accomplish many things at once, follow your creative passion. I feel like it's something to do with like messages that you hear though, for a lot of you. Because it's come out underneath this, enjoy clear hearing. Maybe some of you are actually ear doctors. That could be another thing. And you're actually like, that's going to be for very few people, but maybe some of you actually work, some of you might work with sound healing as well. Something to do with like hearing and sound. I feel like it's like hearing messages, delivering messages, healing, sound, it's something like that that you're going to be doing. But you don't have to do it all at once, right? You can take some time out here, because you can't fill from an empty cup, right? You have to make sure your own cup is filled first, or you're just going to burn out. You have the strength card here, excuse me. You have great inner strength, release harsh judgments, forgiveness and compassion. See, I do feel that some of you might even be like, I don't know, like a counselor, like a marriage counselor, or it's something, you're like spreading peace amongst people. You're showing people how to let go. You're showing people how to forgive, and you're showing people how to show other people like more understanding and more love. But also, you're going to be very, very strong. Like, you're going to be a very, very strong presence in people's lives. You're really going to show people, like, yeah, you're going to teach people like how to live in harmony with each other in some way. Whatever you do, it's very, very compassionate. There's a bunch of different things in here like that I've listed, but I feel like this is something, it's either something, for many of you, it's something you're going to do for a career. This could be something that you do kind of on the side, but I do think it's something to do with healing. And I think it's something to do with like, well, I'm not going to repeat myself, I've already said it. Okay, what else for Cancer, please? Also, you might have to be strong for other people. You know, like a life coach or a counselor, or like, because you know, mediums have to be quite strong because they have to deliver these messages. Sometimes it's not easy. What else? You have the Ace of Swords. Brilliant new ideas and inspiration, seeing the truth of a situation, a challenging beginning. So there's some kind of idea or thoughts that you have, or messages that you hear bring people together in some way, like bring communities together. Maybe it's a YouTube channel. Yeah, look, warrior twice here. You have the fire element, number 30, warrior, passion, fearlessness. And it's because you've been through what you went through in the past with these toxic people. You've had to learn to stand up for yourself. You've had to learn to cut the cords. You know what I mean? And be like, no, you're not treating me like that. Get out of here. Like, you are a warrior. And you have this passion now, like you have this inner fire that maybe wasn't there before. Like, you're fairly, sorry, my camera cut out, you're fairly fearless now because you've been through so much. You're just in this energy of like, well, what else can, like, there's nothing that you can do to me that hasn't already been done. And I've survived it all. So I feel like you're going to show other people how to be strong as well. Like, you're going to be very inspiring for people. You are going to be very inspiring, and you're going to bring people together. Oh, that's weird. You have the fire element and the air element. Philosophy, discrimination, empathy. Yeah, so there's something here to do with like, you're like being empathy, like being empathic, because you have the King of Cups here, like warm, generous, honorable, tapping into your intuition, being compassionate, being loving, being supportive. There's something like you're going to support people. A reshuffle. Okay, what else for Cancer, please? Okay. You are experiencing enormous change right now, which brings great blessings. Aries had that too. You were getting a lot of the same cards as Aries. It's kind of weird. So with the water card here as well, like you might have been undergoing a bit of a cleansing recently, or they might be saying to you like you need, like you're undergoing enormous change right now. And it takes a lot of energy, Cancer, right? Because a lot of stuff, like old emotions and things, they get stored in your body, like they get stored in your organs and things, like fear gets stored in your kidneys, old anger and resentments get stored in your liver. So when you're actually releasing them, it actually takes a physical toll on the body. Also, when you're ascending, you're getting a lot of new energy in, you're releasing a lot of old energy. It's actually like affecting your DNA, like it actually changes the physical makeup of your body, which is, it's tiring, right? So make sure you're resting enough. You have like a lot of blessings coming towards you. You have extra magical energy surrounds your situation right now. Expect miracles. You have more water. So you might be feeling quite emotional at the moment, but that's because you are, sorry about the camera. That's because you are like, what was I saying? Yeah, you might be experiencing a lot of emotions at the moment, but I think you're going through a purging, and I think there's a lot of change happening for you. So if you're tired, like I know it's frustrating because you want to get stuff done, but you know, when you're going through these ascensions, like it's important to actually listen to your body and rest, you know. Yeah, you have expansion. Now that's also a throat chakra card, so I feel like you're learning to stand up for yourself. I feel like you might end up always on the floor. You might end up doing something where you're speaking. Expansion. Your life is changing as you move away from the old way of relating to others. New people are entering your life. Relationships may no longer work. You need to reach out to those who are in the same vibrational frequency of personal upliftment. Call upon higher companions to advise you at this time. So yeah, you're finding your soul family is what I want to say here. You're going to be dealing with people who are like a lot, they're not, you may have been on your own for a while because you were dealing with toxic energy in your past, right? So you had to cut that loose, and sometimes after that, basically you're on your own for a while because you're kind of recalibrating, right? And there's almost that energy of like, oh, I don't actually trust people to let them in at the moment because you were healing, right? But I feel like people are coming in now because you're where you need to be now. You'll see it when you believe it. So there's also a little message here about believing in yourself, like, because I get a lot of messages in the comments, you know, in the love readings in particular, like, oh, I'll believe it when I see it, but that's not how it works. Like, you have to believe it and then you'll see it, right? That's how it works. That's how manifestation works. Because if you're just sitting there saying to the universe like, oh, I'll believe it when I see it, then the universe just doesn't do anything, nothing changes, right? But or actually the opposite will happen, like maybe something was manifesting and almost by saying that you're kind of killing it, you know, because the universe here is like, oh, okay, so you don't want it, that's cool, we won't give it to you then, that's fine, because it's not real, so how can we give it to you? But if you are super like, you know, gung-ho, and you just have that, like, you believe it, you know, the universe will provide it because that's what you've created, basically. That's how it works. Stay away from anyone who is critical of your dreams. This indicates possibly changing your friends. Wise counsel. Yes, some of you are going to be a counselor. Spreading messages, like you're giving people, yeah, this could even be like you just find yourself stepping into a kind of leadership role amongst like new friends or new family. You find people are coming to you for advice more and more, but you end up turning it into a business or something. Because you definitely, because of all your experiences, you have a lot of wise counsel to give to people. Fruitful collaboration, spiritual support, being guided, counseling, connections, progress. Okay, let's see what else. Another blue card. So definitely your throat chakra is opening up, because the thing is, you may not have even, because people have put you down in the past, because you've had to deal with all this toxic energy in the past, you weren't really thinking to yourself like, oh, my opinion's valid, right? You were, that's just not what you think when you've had to go through like abuse or whatever this was, like toxic energy. But I feel like now you're coming into a state where you're like, oh, like I can actually help people with this. Like not everyone has been through what I've been through. You know what I mean? Like the things that I have to say, like my opinions, I could actually help people. Like I should do something with this. You do have impatience here though, but I feel like that's what I was saying, like with the throat chakra, I feel like your throat chakra is opening up. So not only are you expressing your needs, but you're going to be, you're just going to say things like, you know, maybe before you would be like, oh, people are not going to want my advice, but actually you're realizing now that your advice would be very, very helpful. You know, like maybe you're going to work at a women's shelter. I don't know. You know, are you going to work with disadvantaged children or something, right? It doesn't have to be something to do with money. It could be like a community reach out program or something. This card though, impatience, it kind of talks about running before you can walk, because I know what you're thinking as you're watching this reading. You're like, bitch, I don't know what you're talking about, and you're throwing out a lot of different ideas here, because I feel like there's a lot of different people involved here. Okay, like I feel like some of you are mediums, but some of you are counselors, or some of you, like I said, there's something to do. You have messages that are going to help people cleanse toxicity in their life and give them peace. You may even be like a family counselor or a marriage counselor or something, right? But that's what this card is about. Your desire to create may overpower the necessity of aligning with divine timing. The time to shine will come. Move with the energy and not in front of it. Being present has its own reward. So you may be in a place now where you're like, oh my god, like I'm bored. Like I've dealt with my toxic energy and now like I want to move on. I want to know what this job is. I want to know what I'm supposed to be doing. Spirit's saying it's not quite the right time. Or maybe it is for some of you, but they're also saying you're going through an enormous change at the moment and it's important to make time to rest. You know, whatever this is you're supposed to do will become very apparent to you at the right time. I think you're just going to hear it. I think one day you'll just hear it. You'll be like counselor, or you're like women's shelter or something like that, right? Yeah, you have here, if I don't take care of it, it'll never happen. Now is not the time to make a rushed decision. You have made your needs known, now leave it alone. You may block something wonderful coming into you if you are hasty. So you may have said to Spirit, like, I want to do something with my spiritual gifts, or like I feel like I'm not happy where I am. Direct me, you know, and it is coming. But you also have scarcity thinking here, being exhausted by your efforts, success through patience, unfolding, revelation, success. So you might actually be exhausted. Whatever this is you've been pushing for or pushing at, or you're just exhausted because you've been dealing with a lot of toxic energy. And the thing is, even if that's been a couple of years now, you can kind of get post-traumatic stress. And I'm not trying to belittle the armed forces or anything in any way, of course I'm not, but like emotional PTSD is a thing, you know, and sometimes something can happen, like, I don't know, say it happens in 2006, right? And then you're still in survival mode, and you leave the person behind, you know, but then all of a sudden in 2010 you find yourself suddenly dealing with these emotions, right? Because your psyche has finally decided, like, I'm safe, I can actually deal with this now. So something that happened a long time ago, you might still be cleansing it now, you know, or it may have just come to the surface now. So don't try and rush what this is. Like, it will come to you at the right time. You will, you know, you're on the right path. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. Okay, you have, let me just reshuffle those because they're very similar to what Gemini had. Let me just shuffle the deck. And if they come out again, we'll know, right? It could be something to do with communication that you're going to do, though, because you have the two throat chakra cards, and it is something about spreading messages. So I don't know. Podcast, YouTube channel, who knows? Okay, what else for Cancer, please? What I'm basically picking up is, at your core, your lesson is to now help people with what you have learned, and it doesn't really matter the way that you do that. You're all gonna do it in different ways, but that is what's happening at the core here. But you're all gonna decide to do it in different ways, you know. I'm just going to reshuffle these because I feel like I'm just dropping them. Okay, what else for Cancer, please? You have Rejuvenate. So take some time out of the moment to rejuvenate, all right? You know? Because you might find that you've actually achieved, like, you know, if you sit down and actually think about what you've achieved, I want to say 6 years for some of you, could be 4 or 2 years for some of you. Like, sit down and think about a certain period of time and think about everything that's happened in those few years, and I think you're going to be surprised with how far you've come, maybe spiritually, or maybe like in terms of how much stronger you are now, right? Be still. Yeah, it's definitely, it's a time at the moment, Cancer, for you to be still, to rest, to rejuvenate, and you may feel like you're not doing enough. Because if, you know, with this toxic energy in the past, maybe it was codependent, right? And you were kind of around people that always made you feel like you should be doing something, you know? Like, oh, you should, like, what are you doing taking time out for yourself? How selfish. There's all these chores to do. You know, like, we don't have enough money, like, you should be taking more hours, blah, blah, blah. Or, you know, basically just making you feel bad for doing things for yourself, right? That could be a thing. So maybe now you're kind of so used to doing things for other people that it's actually difficult for you to stop. Because you feel like you should always be doing something else, something helpful, doing the chores, cleaning the house, earning more money, whatever it is. But they're saying now is the time to relax. Think about how far you've come. And just, you know, let the changes in your soul and let the changes in your body happen. Don't try and fight it, because you're probably getting a lot of downloads as well. Like, if you're waking up tired, when you wake up in the morning, it's, you know, because that's what they tend to do. They take you away, especially if you don't meditate during the day. You know, they'll come and take you away at night. Like, you'll be astral traveling and going to different places at night, and you'll be getting a lot of downloads, so you might wake up tired in the morning. Yeah, there's definitely something here to do with your creativity. Like, you're going to create something. There's going to be a spark. And I feel like it's very similar to what Gemini had. Like, when you stop, when you slow down, this is when it's going to become clear what it is you want to do. But there's definitely something to do with like, I think you're going to build something, create something, something you're very passionate about. You have hydration here, so definitely make sure you're drinking enough water. You have faith. So have faith, right? Because see how the trees are not like, it's like a little bit of it, I hope you can see that because it's a road. It's like a little bit of the road is kind of lit up, right? But you can't see fully yet. I feel like Aries had that too. A lot of the readings have been kind of similar so far, but I've only done 4, so. But I feel like there's maybe for some of you like a lot of overlapping signs between like I feel like Aries, Gemini and Cancer have been kind of similar. But yeah, like the road is like you can see a little bit of your future, but you can't see it all the way. You know, you kind of have this idea, you're like, okay, I want to help people, or like, you know, I feel like it's time now for me to make my voice heard, or I want to express myself, or I want to move forward now. And it's okay that you can't see exactly where you're supposed to go, because that's what faith is, taking a chance when you're not entirely sure. That's saying to spirit, like, I trust you. And that is, again, part of the spiritual awakening, like not having to rely so much on like, you know, facts and like evidence and all this kind of thing, because I used to be terrible for that. Like, you know, that was part of my thing. Like I had to learn to let go of all that and just trust. And when you do that, that is when all these opportunities and ideas come towards you, you know, things really start flowing. So have faith. I want to put them like that. So that should be there. No, that should be there because it's fire. So you're going to be creating something out of like everything that you've been through. You're going to create something because it's really, again, like you're like a warrior. I also think you're going to be giving people faith. Some of you, there's definitely like, you're going to be, whether it's like mediumship or like tarot or something, some kind of psychic messages or something like this, for some of you, you're going to be like giving people faith. That's like one of your jobs, is to show people that there is something else after we die, so that they can have faith. Because that, like, it's so important for mediums to like do their work, because that's one of the things, like, people, you know, non-believers, like, they often end up at like spiritualist churches, you know, because they're so desperate not only to hear from their loved one, but people are desperate to know that there's something beyond what we have. And like, when, you know, once you get into the spiritual side of things, you kind of take it for granted a little bit, and you forget that a lot of people don't have this comfort in their life, you know. So I feel like maybe one of your jobs, for those of you that this applies to, is like to show people that there is life after death, you know what I mean, and give them some faith. You're gonna be like, the way that you are is gonna like nourish people, it's gonna water people, like, and give them like inspiration. Like, they're gonna feel nourished and refreshed by you. It's really, really important though for you to meditate, is what I want to say. Because I feel like that's when this idea is going to come to you of what it is you want to do. Or like, maybe not during your first meditation session, but even like little things, like, if you know, if you suck at meditation, because I suck at it, but like reading a book, you know, even reading a book, like going for a walk instead of sitting watching TV, you know, doing the, you know, dishes, but doing it mindfully. Basically just creating space in your head that spirit can show you what you're supposed to be doing. And you have detachment. According to spiritual law, you can have anything your heart desires. However, if your happiness, sense of security, or feeling of power depends on someone or something in your life, then you are attached to that person or thing, and it is a chain which binds you to a lower frequency and keeps you stuck. Your guidance is to ask the angels to help you cut the cords that tie you to people, things, and emotions. So maybe that's something that some of you are still going through. Excuse me, like you may have caught, see how my voice went? You have an attachment to when people told you to stop talking before. Whatever this toxic energy was, now it could be in childhood, it could be high school bullying, it could be a relationship, something closed up your throat chakra. So it's possible, yeah, I would do a cord cutting exercise if you've not done it. And like I said, you don't have to pay anyone to do it, right? You just sit and ask Archangel Michael to come in, you know, ask him to cut the cords, actually see him doing it with his fiery sword. Because I think some of you are still holding on to like outdated ideas about yourself where you're not, because it's something to do with your job is to speak up, like your purpose on earth. Your guidance is to ask the angels to help you cut the cords that tie you to people, things, and emotions. When all attachments are released, you can no longer be manipulated emotionally. This enables you to reclaim your power and be genuine. Free your spirit and that of others. Let go now. Affirmation. I release everyone and everything. My spirit is free. See, I feel like you're going to show people how to do this. Like you're going to show people how to be free. Like transmute this toxic energy from their past the way that you've learned. It could also be that you have like cords to past emotions or something you need to get rid of. And this could be the reason that like they haven't quite shown you the way yet, is like you still have a little tiny bit, tiny bit of healing to do before, you know, because they need you to fully, I mean, I wouldn't, you know, if you have an idea of what you want to do, like do it, you know what I mean? But if you haven't had this idea yet and you're getting frustrated, you know, don't be impatient because it will come at the right time. But I feel like you might want to work on your throat chakra for some of you. But anyway, yes, that is the reading, Cancer. I hope it was useful for you. I hope it resonated with you and you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it and it resonated and you feel like liking and subscribing for me, I would appreciate that very much. Remember, be nice to yourself, Cancer, because it's a full moon day if you're watching this on Friday. My camera cut out, how annoying. I was just going to say many blessings, Cancer. Love and light.